Good morning and welcome. Before we begin our service, let us take a moment to share in our stone ritual. I place a stone for our joys. One for our sorrows. And one for our intentions for the coming week.
Shall we gather at the river, where bright angel feet have trod, with its crystal tide forever flowing by the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. On the margin of the river, washing up its silver spray, we will walk and worship ever all the happy golden day. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Soon we'll reach the shining river, soon our pilgrimage will cease, soon our happy hearts will quiver with the melody of peace. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God.
Hello, and welcome to a virtual water communion with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tampa. My name is Erin Powers, and I serve as the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. This season of renewal is marked by us doing many of our usual things in new ways. We are schooling differently, worshiping and attending to the business of church differently, and living our lives differently. Yet despite that, many things will always remain. The love for this community, for each other, and the care we take for each other. Those will remain, as steady as a flowing river and as unending as the oceans. Our guest minister today is the Reverend Kathy Schmitz. Reverend Kathy Schmitz has served congregations in Massachusetts, Texas, Miami, and Orlando as both a settled parish minister and an interim. She has a passion for interfaith work and is a longtime environmentalist and advocate for social justice. Semi-retired, she and her husband, Charlie Behrens, are helping their grandchildren with virtual school this year. Together with the Reverend Kathy Schmitz, I welcome you to our water communion service.
This is the Holtree Hunsaker household, and we are your worship associates for this week's water ceremony. I'm Joel.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Karen.
This is Kieran.
I'm Laura.
This is Zora with a mouthful of cookies.
For our chalice lighting, our opening words are adapted from religious educator Katie Gelfond. We light this chalice as a symbol of reunion and renewal. We reunite to share the flow of our hearts with one another. We gather together in ritual to celebrate our fountains of joy, to hold each other through storms of grief, to guide one another through rapids of transformation, to rest together on ponds of stillness. Together, we honor the spirit of water, its many forms, and its life-giving essence.
You want to light the chalice?
I'm blowing, Mama. I'm really blowing, Mama.
Thank you. Do the
I'm blowing.
closing words?
Our next hymn is number 100 in our hymnals, I've Got Peace Like a River. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Oh, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like the ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul, in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. Well, I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul, in my soul.
Dakota and Peyton were cousins and best friends. The summer they were 8 years old, Dakota and Peyton got to spend 2 weeks together visiting their grandparents at the seashore without their parents.
We get to have fun with Grandma and Grandpa all to ourselves.
And that's fun.
Most days, Dakota and Peyton would play on the beach, while Grandma and Grandpa sat in their chairs watching and reading. One morning, after a wonderful breakfast of Grandpa's special banana pancakes, they were doing just that. Dakota picked up a piece of sea glass and showed it to Peyton.
Hey, look what I found.
Here's another one.
This morning, there seemed to be a special batch of the oddly shaped glass jewels scattered along the shore.
When I get big, I'm going to be a scuba diver so I can go to the bottom of the ocean and visit the sea glass gardens for myself.
What are you talking about? Sea glass doesn't come from a garden.
Yes, it does. Jess told me so.
Peyton wasn't sure that Jessie, the oldest of all the cousins, was the best source of information on this matter.
Besides, everyone knows that sea glass comes from mermaid tears.
What?
The two cousins were on the edge of having an argument when they remembered, fortunately, that Grandma and Grandpa had a bowl of sea glass on the windowsill over the sink, where the sun shone through, making the kitchen a warm and happy place. They ran up toward the house and called to their curious grandparents.
Grandma! Grandma! Tell us where sea glass comes from.
Dakota thinks it comes from sea glass gardens.
Well, Peyton thinks it comes from crying mermaids.
Grandpa turned to Grandma and said with a smile.
Do you think we should tell them?
Grandma winked.
I'm not sure they'll like the answer.
Tell us!
Grandpa shrugged.
It comes from trash.
That's right, old bottles, broken glass.
What about the gardens?
And the mermaids.
Oh, those are wonderful stories. Legends, really. I heard them when I was your age. I used to imagine what it would look like to swim through the sea glass gardens.
Oh, or to see a mermaid cry, although that always made me a little sad.
Dakota and Peyton looked unhappily at the glass that had been treasure in their hands. Grandpa took a piece of glass from Dakota's open palm.
Don't be sad. Sea glass is a real treasure. Just think of it. Once, this was a piece of trash, something someone wanted to throw away. But after many years in the ocean, it has turned into something beautiful. I love the sparkles our jar of sea glass makes in the kitchen.
And the sea glass reminds me that things change. That sea glass was once something else. Maybe it was part of a juice bottle. Then it was just broken pieces of glass, sharp and dangerous. But now, after 40 years in the sea, its rough edges have been worn off, and it's a pretty bauble.
Dakota and Peyton studied the trinkets in their hands.
Sea glass reminds me that even though I'm not the person I used to be, I've become something else that is still wonderful. Like, first I was a child, then a parent, and now I'm a grandmother, and I think that's pretty good.
It's great!
Grandpa declared that it was time for lemonade, and as they headed into the house, Peyton held up a piece of glass.
This was part of a bottle that held a magic potion.
And this piece came from a pirate ship.
The bottle was thrown into the sea, carrying a secret message.
From a prisoner on the ship.
And while Grandpa poured lemonade and Grandma found the cookies, the story grew and grew and grew.
The end.
Elise, with water from Boonton, New Jersey via Polk County, Florida.
Hi, I'm Judy, and this water comes from the pool in my Telecountry home.
Hi, I'm Jamie Hendricks.
I'm Chris Hendricks, and we bring you water from a recent beach trip.
I'm Kathy Reddy. This water represents the water of Spring Creek from the village where my daughter lives in Pennsylvania. Ready?
Hi, I'm David Reddy, and this is virtual water from State College, Pennsylvania.
I'm Karen Zindel. Some of my water comes from the UU at the South Jersey Shore. Water communion. I carried it with me to Tampa. Originally gathered from the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian Oceans, the Mediterranean Sea, 5 continents, 39 states, and some backyard pools. I shared it at last year's water communion and took some of it home, where it's been resting in my freezer until this morning.
Hi, I'm Kim McDonald. This rainwater symbolizes rebirth and transformation.
Hi, my name is Jay, and I'm pouring water from the Temple Terrace water supply.
My name is Phil, and I bring this water from the UUMN camp.
Hi, my name is Ron.
And I'm Mary.
And we are in Joe and Deborah's swimming pool in their backyard.
Our refuge during COVID-19.
Hello, my name is Russell, and I brought this water from the lake in front of the Angkor Wat in Cambodia.
Hello, my name is Candy. I brought this water from Cambodia. I got it from a magic healer.
Hi, I'm Pat Benedict, and I have water from the Estero River to share.
Hi, I'm Diana, and I'm bringing water from Lettuce Lake Park to share.
Good morning. I'm Grant, and I'm bringing water from the mountains of North Carolina to Bird's Fall.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Deborah.
We're taking water from our pool, putting it in this bucket, and passing it on. We're thankful to have the opportunity to drink water, and we wish the rest of the world had water to blow, to wash, bathe, and enjoy. Thank you.
Please join me as we prepare for meditation. In the sea of humanity, we live our lives. We are not isolated people. We are not alone. We are changed by those around us. Take a moment to shake out your wiggles. Take a deep breath and blow it out. Again. Scrunch up your shoulders, let them drop. Wiggle your toes, let them stop. Listen and imagine. Imagine that you are a piece of glass, broken with sharp edges. Once you were part of a bottle. What kind of bottle were you? What did you used to be that you aren't anymore? Now you are a piece of glass, living in the ocean, tossed around by the currents and waves, along the way, having encounters with rocks and with sea creatures. These encounters change you. They wear off your sharp edges. They make you smoother and more beautiful. How have you been changed by the encounters in your life? What sharp edges have you lost? In what ways are you more beautiful? Always we are changing. Whether you are a piece of sea glass still being formed or a human being still being formed, always we are changing. How are you changing? May the encounters of your life help your true beauty shine. Let us be together in shared silence.
Please join us in singing number 1023, Building Bridges. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Good morning. It's great to be with you again. I want to talk today about our rough edges. It is no accident that the water service or water communion has become a tradition for the ingathering services throughout the Unitarian Universalist world. As rivers flow to the sea to create something greater, so too do our lives flow together to become a community. Of course, just as rivers run continuously, our lives influence one another all year round. Still, as we look to a new program year within our congregations, it's good to remember our commitments to one another and to renew the bonds that create strong, healthy, and vibrant community. Water is life-giving, and so I believe is community. We need water for survival, of course, but also for health and happiness. Like water, our human relationships nurture us and bring us joy. And just as water can change the shape of glass, our interactions with one another can transform our lives, smooth our sharp edges, and help us shine. There is also a downside to both water and human relationships. In Florida, in this season, we are well aware of the destructive power of water that comes to us in the form of hurricanes and floods. Similarly, there can be a destructive side to human interactions. Most of us have seen, and some of us have experienced, the harmful impact of unhealthy relationships. From the bully on the playground to jealousy and greed, as well as unbridled pride and misdirected anger, people can hurt one another. This is why I love this time of year when we renew our covenants and our commitments to one another, when we pledge ourselves again to the creation of healthy communities, to imagine together that we can do better. Throughout my time in congregational life, I've had occasion to see and to make plenty of missteps, actions that threaten to harm community. And it is through those experiences that I have learned the power of a congregational culture that calls us back to health, back into covenant. Covenant is that set of promises we make to one another about how we will be together as a community. Sometimes we state these promises explicitly. Other times they're implied. Through covenant, I know what I can expect, and I know what is expected of me. When everything is going well, we can take covenants for granted. But a covenant crafted in good times can be a true blessing in hard times. It's when I'm off balance, out of my element, not my best self. When my anger or my sadness has overridden my good sense. It's at these times that having a covenant in arm's reach or heart's reach is such a blessing. I once received a phone call from a congregation member who was mad. They were mad about a term that another congregational leader had used in a newspaper article. It was a congregation with a strong written covenant, and these person's angry words to me were, "This article is against the covenant." I reached for the covenant, a copy of which I kept on my desk. As I scanned it, I smiled. The covenant, which was admittedly a little lengthy and wordy, had used the exact expression that was upsetting the caller. I explained as gently as I could. "Oh," said the caller. Once that was out of the way, we were able to talk about what it was that was really bothering this person. I don't remember the specifics of what that was. What I do remember noticing is this weaponizing of the covenant, this use of our sacred promises in a way they would never intended to be used. Our covenants, our promises, our agreements are not weapons. They are invitations. They call us back to our best selves and to the healthiest forms of community. I know that I respond pretty badly to being scolded or shamed, but quite well to an invitation, to a reminder that I can do better. I have come to believe that a commitment to creating and sustaining healthy congregations is a moral obligation. And I don't call out moral obligations lightly. It has become clear to me that healthy congregations can absorb unhealthy behavior on the part of its members in ways that make communities stronger. It can remind us of how to be our best selves. This is true for the little mistakes we all make, and it's also true for more challenging situations. I once knew a small congregation that was recovering from some unhealthy behavior. Then a new person arrived in the community and started acting in community-breaking ways. After a number of attempts to remedy the situation, the board decided that it had no choice but to ask the person to leave. It was extremely difficult. I made two observations that I found interesting. First, the membership of the congregation affirmed the board's decision and then asked the leadership to put processes in place to reduce the chances that such a thing would ever have to be done again. In other words, the members asked the leaders to become more intentional about covenant. The second observation I took from the situation was that the individual involved took their challenging behavior and went to another congregation. But this one happened to be larger and healthier. Last I knew, they were doing well there because the system mitigated the problem behaviors and invited the individual into a more community-affirming way of being. If we assert that human community can be life-giving and transformative, then it can be our joy to ensure that we organize ourselves such that even for those who have difficulty in community, there can be a home with us. This year, our time of ingathering and renewal carries with it a greater poignancy than other years. Beyond the virtual walls of our congregations, there are many challenges. COVID-19 causes concern and loss and keeps us physically apart. The resulting economic instability impacts us in disparate ways. The growing conversation around racism and injustice challenges us to search our hearts and look anew at the ways that we create community. And meanwhile, the issues related to climate change continue on unabated. And so it is that these questions about how we will be together in human community seem more urgent, more demanding. And yes, this is exactly the time when we need to go deeper, to allow ourselves to be transformed, to lose the pointed edges that we didn't even know we had, to ensure the blessing of community can be a gift for all. This is the moment when our hearts have been broken open and scattered into so many pieces, when the world has exposed all of the as yet untapped potential of human community. This is the moment when our choices matter most of all. As this community regathers for a new year, may you be renewed in your commitment to each other and to a truly inclusive community. May your commitment overflow the boundaries of your virtual gathering and flow into the world around you. May you participate in the repairing of our world together. May you be a blessing to all you encounter as you do your part to bend the arc of the universe toward a more peaceful, just, and sustainable future for all. May it be so.
The UUCT care team follows up with congregants who are experiencing joys or sorrows. The care team also addresses needs of congregants. The care team can be contacted by email at careteam@uutampa.org.
And now it is time to talk about offering. And this week is Share the Plate. Each week, we ask you to make an offering just to help support both the continued vision of this community and the vision of others who believe, as we do, in supporting peace, equity, and compassion in our world. This week, we share the plate with the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay. This organization helps people in vulnerable situations in the greater Tampa Bay area, and we are happy to share our resources with them. At the end of our service, please go to uutampa.org, our website, to contribute to this organization, or go directly to crisiscenter.com and donate there.
Oh, healing river, send down your water, send down your water, upon this land. Oh, healing river, send down your water, and wash the blood from off the sand. This land is parching. This land is burning. No seed is growing in the barren ground. Oh, healing rivers, let the tall stalks rise. Oh, healing river, send down your water. Send down your water. Oh, healing river, from out of the sky. From out of the sky. Everybody join with me in singing number 1064 in your hymnals, Blue Boat Home. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep. Drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens and our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sky before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Our closing words are by the Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman, and they are called The Moments of My High Resolve. As we end this time of worship together, may we find renewal in the path forward with these words from Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or in foul, in good times or in tempests, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. Oh, extinguish it. There you go.
My.
Thank you for joining us for our very first virtual water communion. We hope the waters of renewal have filled your soul. We wish for waves of calm and contentedness, and for the relief that comes from a cool drink on a hot day. Go in peace until we meet again.